see it.
Welcome. This is the Magician and the Fool podcast. We are on episode number 47. My name is Dominic. My co-host's name is Janice, and you will hear from him in a little bit. Today we are very fortunate to be able to speak with Diego de Oxossi from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Diego is a priest of Kimbanda and a Babalorisha of Candomble. For more than 20 years, he has been researching and presenting courses, lectures, and workshops on pagan and African Brazilian religions. He is a student of Maeda do Ogum, who is the founder of Kimbanda, and he is the author of Traditional Brazilian Black Magic. In this interview, we just scratched the surface of Brazilian spiritual practice and the traditions of Kimbanda and Umbanda and the related practices. So we recommend just using this podcast as maybe a jumping off point for your own study. We want to say thank you, as always, to our very generous patrons who are really the driving force behind the work we do here on the podcast. So if you like what we do, thank our patrons. It's because of them that this is even possible. If you would like to become a patron and support this kind of work, just go over to Patreon, look us up, and do what feels right. We dedicate this to Hermes and Asclepius, and may any merits we accumulate doing this work be distributed to all sentient beings so that they, together with us, may equally realize awakening. Okay, we are here with Diego de Oxossi, and I'm going to brutalize every Portuguese word that I say today in this interview. We are super excited to have you. There's a lot to talk about. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Dominic. Thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be with you guys.
Oh, welcome. We are so happy to have you.
Yeah, so we are going to talk about Kimbanda, a system and a religion that you are deeply involved with. And in the process of talking about Kimbanda, we're going to talk about lots of other things, including Umbanda and all the surrounding practices in Brazil, which you have written about in your amazing book, frankly, Traditional Brazilian Black Magic. Janice and I had the opportunity to read this book recently, and it's just phenomenal. So thank you for writing it. And I would recommend all of our listeners check it out. And we'll talk more about that later.
Great.
So to start, I mean, where do you guys think is a good starting point?
Actually, let's start with a little background. So Diego, what's your background? Where do you come from, and what brought you to this path?
Well, actually, I was born and raised in an Umbandist family. Actually, my grandmother and my godmother, I found the English word. My grandmother and my godmother were Umbandist practitioners of Umbanda and Umbanda mediums. So I was literally born in Umbanda. I was born with a kidney disease, and that is what took me to occultism and spirits religion, because they took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, he has to go through, I don't know the word in English, but through kidney treatments and maybe a transplant or something like that. And I went to the hospital till I was 7 years old. And I remember being one day at the hospital, another day at the Umbanda temple, taking some spiritual cleansings and treatments with native Indian spirits and ancient black spirits. But that was something I loved, but I didn't live. I was a child. I have 1, 2, 3, 7 years old. And the most amazing thing is that until nowadays, this kidney disease I was born with doesn't have a cure. Either you have a life of treatment and that thing that changes the blood, I don't know the
dialysis.
English word for it. Dialysis, thank you. Either you go through a lifetime of dialysis or you get a kidney transplant. Until nowadays, that's the options you have. But my grandfather, which I didn't knew, he had a near relationship with Batuki and Orisha's priests and priestesses, which are different African matrix religions we have in Brazil. We have the spirits cults in Umbanda and Kimbanda, and we have the African Orisha's cult in Batuki and Candomble. So I was born and raised in this Umbanda environment, taking spiritual cleansings and advices from the spirits. But my godfather had a intimate relationship with these African priests and priestesses. So when I was about to die from this disease, or either I got the treatment or I get death, he took me to one of these priests that said to my family, well, I'm going to do what I have to do, but he will basically have a spiritual contract, a spiritual deal that one day in the future he will have to fulfill. And the most amazing thing is that when I was 7 years old, I remember being at the doctor as I were each week. And the doctor came with my papers and, with all the documents we have in the hospital. And she said to my mom, Mom, I really don't know what happened, but the disease is gone. Mm. And you can take off all the medicines, all the treatments and everything else. I was 7 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And we don't have a rational explanation for it until today. But the disease disappeared. And I was a child. I grew up. I went to my teenage years. And then I grew up. I became an adult. And as soon as I became an adult, I was dragged. Something else. The things started to happen so repeatedly. And even though I wasn't living at my hometown yet, I was living at São Paulo, about, I don't know how many miles, I guess 10,000 miles from my hometown. Things became to shown in my way. So I went to the dance club and I knew someone that were Umbandist or Orisha's worshiper or anything like that. Until I moved from I moved from the house I was living at. Well, it was basically in front of a Umbanda temple, and I was almost 20 years old that period, and I started to frequent that as a visitor, which normally in a traditional Umbanda temple you will visit for a year or so, 2 years or so, until you get invited to be a part of the temple and then start the first steps of your religious life and everything like that. When I was 1 month there, the chief of the house called me and said, "You have a spiritual mission you have to fulfill. So it's the time." Then I started to learn and practice Kimbanda, where I spent 2 years there and that's the most, can I say bad words?
Yeah.
That's the most fucking amazing thing that happened to me. Because I had a good life, I had a good job, I was I had a nice life. When I was 20, 22 years old, I had a career, I had my education, I had my house and everything else. And I was living my Umbanda life just like any other person. And from in 6 months period, I came from a top life to a bottom down life where I didn't have the money to buy food. I didn't starve because I have my family and they helped me. And I talked with the Umbanda priest that ruled the temple I was in that days. And I said, well, but we make all the offerings, we do all the rituals, we take everything that needs to be done. And she was very honest with me, and I'm thankful to her until today for this. She said, "Diego, I really don't know what is happening. I really can't help you more than I'm doing. But the thing is, you have to find something else. You can continue being Umbandist, but Umbanda is not enough for you." And in the same times, as I said, I didn't have the money to buy food, nor to pay the rent, nor to do anything. In a 6 months period, I got back to my mom's house in my hometown. And well, when I got there, I said, I'm gotta do something. I gotta take some actions. I gotta find as we call in Portuguese, a mãe de santo, which is a Orisha Orisha priest or a spirit priest. Someone gotta help me. Someone at least gotta say me what is happening. And that was when I knew Mãe Ieda. I got a religious magazine, which is like a social column with party pictures of every priest and priestesses that does their party and everything else. And I said, well, I'm going to look for someone that gets my attention, and I'll call them and I'll schedule a oracle consultation, and well, gotta do what I gotta do. And then I knew Mãe Ieda, and she changed my life. She was a few years later, I got to know that she was the founder of Kimbanda in Brazil. And the first time I saw her, I went to her house to get a consultation and let's do some cleansing, let's do some magic rituals, let's invoke something to get my life back on track. And she looked at me, and she, without an oracle, without anything, she didn't have started the consultation yet. She just looked at me and she said, "You have to take care of your issue. He is messing with your life because he wants to be treated as he deserves to. And in my house, we are not going to give him a food offering or a spirit offering or one drink or one chicken or a roast. He needs to get all his rights. He needs to get all his spiritual rights. He needs to get all the major sacrifices we will usually do for someone who is 5, 10, 20 years initiated, because you have been not initiated, but you have been dedicated in your childhood. And that's the thing I have to say to you. If you want me to read the oracle, I will repeat everything I have said to you." So I got thinking, whoa, what is happening? And of course, I'm kind of in Brazil we have São Tomé, which is Saint Thomas, I guess. That I have to see for believing. That it's a Christian saying that has this saying, I have to see to believe. And I said, yeah, of course, I want you to open the oracle. I came here to have the consultation. Of course I want. And of course, she repeated everything she had to say. And then I said to her, well, but okay, I understand that I know I have this childhood dedication. I knew that someday I will have to assume this to my life. But if I'm coming here and saying to you that I almost don't have money to food and rent, how can I buy a goat for this? How can I pay for a goat for the spirits? And she said, that's not the thing. If they want to have it, they will have to bring you all the resources for it. And then she did a simple ritual, kind of a agreement with the spirits, where we said, well, if you take my life back on track, I'll dedicate my life to you. And that was the turning point of my life. From that moment on, everything I ever dreamt, and I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about material issues, I'm talking about symbolic prosperity, I'm talking about a life with meaning, I'm talking about reborning from a medium to low vibration life. From that moment on, my life just changed. And I saw the transformation, I saw the real magic that Eshu and Pombagira can do in someone's life. We have a saying in Kimbanda and in Candomble that Eshu makes the right turn wrong and the wrong turn right. Eshu makes the night becomes day and the day becomes night. And when we look at the sayings in a symbolic way, we understand the power of Eshu that can take a fucked life and make it the most amazing, loved, brilliant, prosper, wealth life we can have. If you understand the power of Eshu, if you understand the real meaning of spirits worshiping, and that was what happened in my background. So from that moment on, I made a choice. I could continue my life in my career and I work with advertising and social media, not social media, with internet stuff. Now that period didn't have social media yet. We're talking about the Orkut and early years of Facebook, but no one had the social media yet. But I used to work with IT and software development and something like that. And there was a day that I took this decision. Well, I will dedicate my life to the spirits as a manner of repaying them for rebirthing me.
That's an awesome story. And it sounds like you were put on that path really from birth. It was kind of a destiny. And it's a story that is kind of classic. When you hear about maybe shamans, even in places like Siberia, Mongolia, they often start off as children who are sick, who are having problems, and then come to that spiritual path and become a shaman or a priest. So it's a very classic story and very interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, for sure. And for those of our listeners who may be unfamiliar, could you back up just a little bit and define Umbanda in a quick way so that they understand when you're referring to that first chapter when you were involved in Umbanda, what that
sure.
is?
I guess we can quickly contextualize three kinds of Brazilian occult religions or Brazilian occult spiritual paths. In Brazil, we have the biggest, how is the word in English? We have the biggest number of African enslaved people brought from Africa for about all Americas. We have about 4 million and African enslaved people brought to Brazil. And from that 4 million, 2 million survived the ocean crossing. So Brazil has a very strong Black spirituality background. That said, we have two basic kinds of spiritual traditions or spiritual worshiping practices. We have the deities practice worshiping. We have the deities practice, which is called Batuque or Candomble, and worship the Orishas, the African gods and goddesses of nature. They are nature powers and nature forces that are personalized in some human figures, so we can relate to them better. That's one thing. And then we have the spirits worshiping. We have the spirits cults, the ancestral cults, the ancestors cults that are related to familiar spirits or unknown dead spirits that can come back to earth and relate with us in religious rituals or spiritual rituals. In this sense, when we're talking about the spirits worshiping, Umbanda is the first organized religion for spirits worshiping, aside of French Catholicism that already existed in Brazil in the 18th and 19th century. But when we talk about Catholicism, they only accept high social level doctors and masters and well-educated spirits that are looking for some kind of enlightenment, blah, blah, blah. And Umbanda is founded in Brazil, is organized in Brazil in 1908 when a poor spirit, a native Indian spirit, embodies a medium during a Catholicism session and says that, well, if Catholicism is the space for high society spirits, now I'm creating a space that will welcome all rascals and marginal spirits that don't have place in this high society Catholicism. I'm creating Umbanda, and from now on, the spirits in Umbanda will be dedicated to charity and to welcome all poor people that doesn't have any kind of spiritual support in this religion. So we have these two scenarios where the forces of nature and the African deities are worshipped in Candomble and Batuque. And we first had Umbanda as the only organized cult that worship rascals and marginal spirits, the poor spirits, and the not recognized spirits. About 40 years after the foundation of Umbanda, there was another social breakdown inside. Now we're talking about an inside-out social breakdown in Umbanda. If Umbanda was a social breakdown from Catholicism and from these white doctors and mentors from a high-educated social level, and Umbanda was this breakdown. About 40 years of Umbanda's foundation, we had another social breakdown when we had an Eshu spirit, which is the name we give to the most. I miss the English word for it. Actually, the word I know is rascal, but I believe there is not a harder word for it.
Trickster.
Yeah, but not actually. When we're talking about social levels, we have the rich people, we have the medium, we have the bottom line, and we have something up below the bottom line. And Eshu was seen as this below the bottom line kind of spirit from the foundation of Umbanda until 1940s, 1950s, something around that year. And then we have a spirit that, just like the spirit that founded Umbanda in 1908, we have a spirit that, but with the difference that in 1908 we have a native Indian spirit. So seen as a healer, seen as a kind of shaman, seen as a kind of an ancient knowledge keeper. In 1602, we have this down the bottom line level of a spirit saying, no, I'm not going to be the cleaner. I'm not going to be the slave of the enslaved. I'm not going to be treated as just the rest of the rest. I have a name. I have a power. I have a magical power. I demand to be recognized and respected for what I can do. And this spirit was called Eshu, Kingdom of the Seven Crossroads, and he was embodied in Maieda's body. So that was a social breakdown and a spiritual breakdown when we first get organized Kimbanda cults. So we have Umbanda, which is a spirits cult, and a scission of this Umbanda that said, if you want to welcome all non-recognized spirits, all these foreign spirits, all these rascal spirits, but you want to, even though you are all very welcome to everyone, you are yet trying to repeat the enslaved process of hierarchies and who commands who, and you are subaltern to the Indians and subaltern to the ancient Negroes and everything like this. Now we will have a new cult, a new religion where the rascal rules, where the bottom of the bottom, the ones that were prostitutes, the ones that were I don't know the word for those who live in the streets. I don't know the English word for those who starves in the streets. And we're going to get all those fucking spirits that didn't have anything but had to learn with life struggle how to survive. And we're going to worship their knowledge, their wisdom, and their life tricksting. And this is Kimbanda. So we have deities in Candomble and Batuque. We have mid-white, mid-class spirits. Not exactly that, but we have enlightened spirits looking for some spiritual progression and charity, and let's take care of everyone in Umbanda. And you have this self-centered spirits who are saying, we are looking for those, we'll take care for those who take care of us in Kimbanda.
It's very, very interesting. It's the elevation of Eshu in Kimbanda seems like a direct reflection of kind of the elevation of those marginalized people. The slaves are now free of the hierarchy. It's very empowering.
Exactly.
I was just going to say it's also interesting how there is a radical inversion here. Mm-hmm. It's like we see the person at the bottom, and then all of a sudden it becomes the top, like the first will be last and the last will be first.
Exactly. And this is the, if we're taking a social look at Kimbanda, a sociologic approach of Kimbanda, that's exactly what happened.
Hmm. And was this conception of Kimbanda, is this the Baja crossing? Is that how it's pronounced, or is that the term, or the Bara?
Yeah, the Bara. Yeah, the Bara crossing. Actually, the Bara crossing, it was the magic ritual that how can I say this? That officialized this social rupture. Actually, the either the social rupture as the spiritual rupture happens after the Bara crossing, but the Bara crossing is like the authorization for you can go for it. You really have the power you said you have. You proved you were a real spirit. a spirit that can do everything you say you can do. So now you have this crossing.
And spiritually speaking, what was happening there with the border crossing?
Spiritually speaking, what we call the border crossing is the basics of Kimbanda and of the African deities worshiping cults are the animal sacrifice. But we sacrifice roasts and catters and bulls and goats for either for the deities as for the spirits, but they are separate rituals. If we are feeding the deities with the blood, and then we will feed the community with the meat. This is one thing. We are sacrificing animals for a deity. This have this divinity sense of belonging, of giving something to a god, to a goddess. When we sacrifice some animals to the spirits, we are kind of thanking them and empowering them with the blood's force, with the blood's mystical and magical power. And the barra crossing means that I'm feeding the spirit, I'm sacrificing animals to the spirit. I'm feeding the deity, I'm sacrificing animals for this deity, and I'm saying that this spirit is welcome to eat with him, to be fed along with the deity. So when he can eat in the same table, if we bring this to practical reality, if a spirit can sit on the table to eat, to have dinner with a deity, so he gets the deity hierarchy. He gets a deity. He becomes a deity, not only a rascal spirit. Something
interesting.
Like
so Eshu in Kimbanda is seen as kind of an elevated spirit, kind of initiated into or welcomed into the kind of deity sphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though we recognize they are not nature powers, they are spirits. They were once alive and dead, and now they come back from through spiritual embodiment. They have this deity's degree.
Very interesting. As far as Eshus, I've seen the term used as a singular, like as a singular entity, and also as kind of a plural of many entities. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you explain how that works?
Yeah,
because
maybe to just to make the question a little clearer, could you please articulate the distinction between the Orisha or Irumole, Eshu, Elegbara, and the Eshus of Kimbanda?
Yeah. Actually, the main difference is the same difference of Candomble, Batuque in Central America, and in North America, the Voodoo Loas, and in Brazil, the Candomble and Batuque Orishas for the spirits. So we have a main difference. That is, one thing, we're talking about a nature force that is divinized and worshipped as a deity. And in the other hand, we have a spirit that was once alive and, became dead and now gets back to earth through the cult and through the spiritual embodiment. But we also have a kind of a contextual problem, which is in Brazil and most in southeast and northeast Brazil, we use the same word for these two different energies. So we have the word Eshu to define a god, an African god, the African god of communication, the African god of movement, the African god of contrasts, which is an Orisha called Eshu. And we also have the same word, the same name to define the Kimbanda spirits. So even though we know they are different things, they have different codes, we have this contextual error of using the same word for two different things. Even though, if we could humanize the African god called Eshu, and as we can humanize the Kimbanda spirit called Eshu, they will almost be the same thing. So the archetype of Kimbanda spirit called Eshu is the commander, is the ruler of movement, is the ruler of communication, is the ruler of all life pleasures, is the ruler of wealth and material life, financial and material life, is the ruler of sex, is the ruler of all things that are non-sacred in a Christian, Judeo-Christian point of view. Mm-hmm. And this is the same life aspects that the African Orisha called Eshu is the ruler of. And one curious thing is that this confusion of using the same word to define two different but similar energies only exists in southeast and northeast Brazil. We don't have this confusion in the southern Brazil, where Kimbanda is founded, because the same African god called Eshu in the southern Brazil is called Bara. So this is the Bara crossing. The spirit is taken to a spiritual hierarchy that says he's almost a god, just as Bara, or the Orisha called Bara. So we don't have this confusion in southern Brazil, because the spirit is called Eshu and the Orisha is called Bara. We know they are different things, they have different names, even though they rule on the same life aspects. But from Paraná is this Brazilian state that divide the southern region from all other parts of Brazil. From Paraná to above, to the upper states, the same word defines two different things. That's the main differentiation.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. That was very clear and helpful.
No, that was actually intriguing. And I still find it so intriguing, the parallels between the two, even though they're separate. Mm-hmm. For instance, the Eshus were red and black. They're associated with crossroads. All these things, which is very much Eshu, Odara, or Elegbara. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so it's almost as if there's some sort of secret connection, even though they're separate.
I don't have the ways to rationalize this, and it's also a mystery for me and for everyone else in Brazil, which practices any of those religions. But the African god of communication, of movement, of sex, of life, of everything like this, have a lot in common with the Kimbanda spirits. We could almost say they are the same if they were not a nature force and this is the spirit. There is a mystery we can't explain.
Well, it's a wonderful mystery because you're bringing those two things together. It's kind of great in that way.
Yeah.
Cool. And something I wanted to kind of touch on, Umbanda and Kimbanda are seen as very new paths, new religions. Mm-hmm. But in reality, the roots go extremely deep, as with all of the kind of diasporic African traditions. And I wanted to just quote something from your book, which I thought was very helpful in understanding this. I'll just read it now. So, it is right to say that the voodoo of Haiti, the Santeria of Cuba and the Caribbean, the Regla de Paulo of the Dominican Republic of Puerto Rico, the cult of Maria Leonzo in Venezuela, and the Candulus of Brazil, which later would evolve into the Bahian, Candomble, and Southern Batuque, are essentially the same practice, each adopted to the particular geography, culture, and available resources of each country and region into which they were inserted. So I found that very helpful in kind of contextualizing all these very seemingly separate systems with all their own nuances, when in reality, at their core, they're kind of practicing the same things, because these were all Africans born in Africa, and they learned these things in Africa. So it would make sense that these are all kind of the same things, just kind of dressed up in these different cultures.
Exactly. And I don't know the historical background, the details of the historical background of Haitian voodoo or the Maria Leonça or any other religion outside Brazil. I know they're common known practices. But if we look at the beginnings of African religions in Brazil, we had the spirits, the deities cult, along with the spirits cult. So the worshiping the deities, worshiping God, African gods and goddesses, happens at the same time as ancestors worshiping, and that's an African thing. So that's natural that all those Africans enslaved to all Americas adapted their spiritual practices to what the land offers.
Right.
And this is something that happens in Brazil a lot until today. We have a lot of traditional temples that only worship the Orishas, only worship the African gods and goddesses, and don't recognize the spirits cults, but they have inside their practices some ancestors cult that is hidden, and because there is the priest that initiated me to come to Orisha's cult had a saying that the gods exist because man exists. There won't be any African, Asian, Japanese, European, French, or any other name. There will not exist any god or any goddess if there wasn't a man or a woman to worship them. So when we take off the names and we understand that we are worshiping forces that can interfere for good and for bad in human life, we understand we're talking about the same thing. Of course, we and this is a very trickster thing to say, but in voodoo we have the Guedes cult, which is the cult to the spirits of basically is the cult of spirits that are marginal, there are rascals, there are given to the pleasures of life, and they are very similar to the Eshus and Pombagira, which are very similar to the spirits called worshipped in traditional witchcraft, and there is even a chapter in the book that talks about the mixture of Goetia demons with Kimbanda Eshus, and even though we know they are different things, are they really different things? Or are they only different names from different regions for the same force?
Especially if you consider that the dominant imperialistic religions demonized natural forces and indigenous religious figures. And that brings me into another point that I want to talk about. We know that whether it was actually has been a worldwide thing, whether you go to Africa or Northern Europe or Native America, the indigenous figures of the gods were always demonized, especially the sort of mercurial god like Eshu or Loki or whoever, because they turned that into the devil figure, like how in Nigeria, when they translated the Bible into Nigerian, the name for Satan, they put the name Eshu. And I find it intriguing how in Brazil, in Kimbanda, they turned that into an empowerment. They turned those symbols of the Judeo-Christian devil figure into an empowering figure, empowering symbols of liberation. And I was wondering if you could talk about that.
Yeah, there is the sociological point of view, which is if I have a dominant enemy that is terrified of the devil figure, and if the only thing I have to defend myself is the spirits, I will say my spirit is the devil. If that's the only weapon I have to defend myself from the slavery, to defend myself from the white Judeo-Christian domination, of course I will admit, or at least I will say to those who are afraid of the devil that what I worship is the devil. That's the only force I have to maybe defend myself and maybe win this war. And there is another spiritual and theological point of view. And I was talking about this with an initiator of mine in Brazil, which is also a Luciferian priest. And we were talking about the differences and what's the opposite word of difference? The
similarity.
The similarity, thank you. The differences, we were talking about the differences and the similarities of Eshu Maioral, which is the origin of all life and all forces as we have in Kimbanda. So he is kind of the god of creation. The origin of life is called Eshu Maioral. And we were talking about the differences and similarities of this Eshu Maioral, which is represented by Bafome's image and is called in the majority of Kimbanda temples as Eshu Beelzebub, with the Luciferian figure of Lucifer, Satan, and Baphomet. And we were creating these parallels where we have a force which is considered the origin of good and good and bad, of good and evil, the origin of life and death, the origin of right and wrong, the origin of all the opposites. And that's why he is symbolized with Baphomet's image, which is man, woman, goat, up and down, all those contrasts that we found in Eliphas Levi Baphomet's image. And so it's all one origin who gave different names and who said this part is bad, this part is good, this part is valid, this part is demonic or demonic. This is okay, this is not. It was the Catholic Church. Before the Catholic Church, they were all one. And maybe this is one of the most intriguing and most amazing things that took me to Kimbanda. We admit to ourselves that humans are good and bad at once. I'm not looking to be only good, I only practice good thoughts, good actions. I don't feel angry, I don't hate anything, I don't disguise, no, I do. I have a shadow inside me. I have a beast inside me that can also be used as a transformation tool, that can also be used as an improvement, a personality improvement tool. If I look at this beast, if I look at this shadow, and at least try to not be consumed by it. But if I get my whole life saying, no, I don't have any bad feelings, I don't have shadow inside me, I'm only light, I'm all good, why am I living for? If I'm only light, I shouldn't be embodied. I should be a spirit. What am I doing here?
That's huge.
If I'm only light, why am I facing all life struggles? Why am I facing poverty? Why am I facing starving? Even if I don't have this in my life, if I'm only light, if I'm only good, if I only do good things, why do I have to deal with bad people? Why do I have to deal with I missed the English word, with lions and mistreated? I'm missing myself in English. But if I'm all pure and all good, why am I on earth?
That's very well said. And, another thing it makes me think of is how that dominant discourse also demonizes the natural animal impulses in us.
Exactly.
We need to eat. We need to have sex. We need to, exercise our bodies. We need to enjoy life. And that's demonized by some of these authorities.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that stuff becomes consigned to the realm of the quote unquote devil. And then it becomes kind of consigned over to that realm of the same thing that's been demonized as the indigenous religions and gods of indigenous people. And so all these things come lumped together. And it seems like Eshu is something, he liberates people from this enslavement, these chains that made them feel guilty about wanting to enjoy life, that make them feel guilty about where they come from and all these things. And to me, that's very beautiful.
Exactly. We have a saying that in Kimbanda there is no sin. We don't recognize sin's concept, but we recognize that every choice in life has its consequences. So I used to take a hard example, but is it right or wrong to kill someone? And of course, the majority of people will automatically answer, it's bad, it's wrong. And I use this example because I had this in my temple. I had a consultation with a guy that came to me, and he said to me, I just came here because I want to kill someone. And when we hear this in first time, we say, whoa. But and the first thing I said to him was, who is this person, and why do you want to kill him? And he answered me, because he abused my child. That was the first time I rationalized this thought. Is it right or wrong to at least want to kill someone? What is right and wrong? In what context? In what environment? And this is something that we assume and recognize as Kimbandists. There is no defined good or bad. There is no defined right and wrong. But for every action, we will have consequences. So I can use the Eshu's magic and Pombagira's magic to harm someone. That's the concept of black magic. That's the basic concept of general concept of black magic. I will do some magic ritual to harm someone. But I can also use its Eshu's and Pombagira's power to understand what choices I've taken so far that allowed me to be harmed, and how can I avoid that, so I don't have to give back the harm that was made to me, and I also don't have to give the other face. So let's see. No, I have to assume I was harmed because I left someone made me do me harm. So how can I use Eshu's power and Pombagira's power to avoid these situations to happen? And of course, I'm not hypocritical. Depending on the situation, yeah, of course, to cast a spell and give back to those who harmed me. We have a beast inside, but we have to learn, and that's maybe the most difficult, but the most rewarding challenge we face during Kimbanda's ritual and Kimbanda's development, spiritual development during the spiritual life, the religious life, that I must recognize when it's time to go to war or when it's time to learn with the war I face to avoid useless struggles in the future, and get all that weaponry power and all that bellical power I could just use to harm the next one, to instead of going to war, using all those soldiers and all those forces I could use to build a bigger and better and stronger castle to myself.
So how do you balance that as a practitioner of Kimbanda? If you don't necessarily recognize sin, but obviously, there can be an imbalance in any individual where they go maybe too far to one side, not recognizing sin or the suffering that they are causing others. Do you think there's a danger to that?
No, but that's the thing. Yeah. I don't say for those who go to the dark side, to the harmful side of the magic. I'm not saying that Kimbanda doesn't recognize the harm we can do to other people, or a spell can do, but we don't see this as a. I'm not sure if the word is right. A condemnation. We are conscious that if we do a harm spell, if we do an attack spell, this is going to harm someone. This is going to do bad for someone. And what we must always try to balance or always try to rationalize is, am I prepared to deal with the consequences of it? Not spiritual consequences. And this is the point when I say we don't recognize sin. Oh, I'm not going to do a harmful spell because I'm going to be condemned in another life, or I'm going to burn in hell. No, I'm not going to burn in hell, but I'm going to pay in this life. Because if I have my mentors and my issues and you can maybe have yours. And if I do use something, even in spellcraft or in practical life, if I do use something and you try to answer, we can get in an endless war. Am I ready for it?
Right.
Am I prepared for it? And do I want to get into an endless war? Or maybe I can, of course, recognize I'm angry with you, or I hate you, or anything bad, but try to use this hate as a form of wisdom. Why do I hate? How can I hate without harming? But when I'm not fantasizing. No, we have no idea we're doing harm. Yes, we have.
Yeah.
And to answer objectively to your question, there is no magical guide or magical rule to, how do I balance when someone, I guess that is it's more to an ethical than to a magical rule to say, no, I won't go from here.
Yeah.
I won't help you, or I won't cast a spell, or I won't. But this is the deepest mission a priest in any religion. This is the deepest mission a priest or a priestess have, to hear to hear you cry, to understand what is making you feel angry, what is making you to want to kill someone or to cast a spell to someone, and at least try to make you understand how to exchange this to a self-improvement energy. So this is the example I told you about the guy who came to me. I want to kill someone. Okay, but what happened? He abused my child. And I said, okay, you can't change what happened. It's a shame. It's I share with you the pain of having a abused child, but to kill the one who did it, won't change this fact. Instead of losing your money in a spell, instead of losing your sanity in spells, instead of losing your time and your energy and all the good thing, all other good things you could be achieving in this time with this money, with this energy, what about looking at you? You don't even need to forgive the one who abused your child. I want him to burn in hell. I want him to die. I share this with you. But why do you have to lose your time, your money, your energy to achieve this? And this is the major aspect and the major dominion of Eshu. If that situation is really wrong, and of course we can talk about what is wrong, what is right for the rest of the day, but if that was really unfair and bad, and we don't need to cast a spell. If there is no ego when judging if that was bad or not, we don't need to cast a spell. Eshu will take care of it, because Eshu takes care of those who takes care of Eshu. And that's the biggest difference of worshiping Eshu in Pombagira and worshiping a Judeo-Christian God. And now I'm not talking now with all the prejudice that I believe they practice, but the Christian God is always aside, is always distant, is always, I'm a God, I want to be worshipped, and if you don't worship me, I'll kill you with a flood in your city. But but if I had a little time to spare, then maybe I'll take care of you. That's the relationship that Christians have with their God. But when we're talking about Kimbanda Eshu, we have a personal relationship with a personal deity. The only reason of being, the only reason of existing, and of course the reason of me worshiping him as my Eshu, is that his only mission is to take care of me. So I have a personal God that I don't need to cast a spell to make right or wrong, to make justice. I have a guardian. I have a commander. I have an angel and a devil 24 hours at my side. So why will I spend my money, my time, my energy to do harm if I know there is a bodyguard taking care of those issues? So I'll spend my money, my time, my everything to improve myself in financial ways, in loving ways, in studying ways. And so Kimbanda is a selfish religion. Yeah, it is a selfish religion in the best sense of the word.
Well, because by helping yourself, you help everyone around you.
Exactly. We're not here to save the whole world, but I can try to help or save my personal world. And when I'm okay, let's only look for the financial, the money issues. If I'm financially okay, if I have money enough for me and to share, people around me and those I love will also be good. They don't necessarily have the same education. They don't necessarily have the same kind of job. But I can help them, and I can fulfill my private community. And that's the sense of Eshu. That's the meaning of he takes care of those who takes care of them.
And it seems like there's more of an emphasis on understanding as a basis for our decisions, as opposed to fearing. Instead of fearing I'm going to get punished.
Exactly.
This is more about understanding, well, why do I want to do this, and what is going to be the consequences? Exactly. And the other thing that it makes me think of with you is that guy who came to you, and that's tragic. And I know I would feel the same way. your Eshu, in fact, probably all the Eshus of the temple were sitting there listening to what that guy was saying, and they were probably pissed.
Of course. But you know that in that case, what give me most joy is that he didn't act. We didn't cast any spell to kill anyone. He understood that was nothing that would pay. That was nothing that would take that pain away, but that we could cast spells to improve his child's emotional background, not background, the emotional aspects, that we could cast spells so he could not forget, but at least not to be harmed for memories and for this kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have the best words
Makes
for
sense.
describing it.
It almost as if you guys have a more Gnostic understanding, because you're not coming from fear and punishment, but you're coming from a place of wisdom and trying to understand. And that's very beautiful. Now, I want to, our listeners who aren't familiar, they hear you talking about Pombagira, and they probably want to know more about the, what's the structure of the Kimbanda in terms of who are the Eshus, who are the Pombagiras, and
well, we have a infinity of Eshus and Pombagiras name, but first things first, Pombagira is the female counterpart of Eshu. So when we look at the universe, we must understand that everything in the universe is balanced as positive and negative, male and female. So we have this one source of power, this one origin of all life, which is Eshu Maioral, that is represented by Baphomet's image. And he is male and female in the same creature. From him, we have Eshu and Pombagira originated. So we have male and female male and female energies. We're not talking about gender identity or things like that. Mm-hmm. We're talking about vibration. We're talking about energy vibration. So we have male and female vibration originated from Eshu Maioral, which are Eshu King and Pombagira Queen. And these three energies, they are not spirits. They are, I know the word in Portuguese to differentiate it, but they are powers. They are energy sources. And from this Eshu King and this Eshu Pombagira, that we have all spirits, not originated, but hierarchical organized. And then we understand the whole universe divided in what we call the seven kingdoms, the seven realms. So in Kimbanda, we have a spiritual structure where no Eshu is better or worse than any other. No Eshu is powerful or weaker than any other, but they rule and relate with different nature powers and energies and aspects and something like this. So the seven realms are related to all human life aspects and all nature forces. Each of these realms are subdivided in 9 dominions. Let me look for the English word for it. Because in Brazil, in Portuguese, we will have the reinos and the povos. And in English, in the traditional Brazilian black magic book, they are called the 7 realms, and each realm has its 9 dominions, which are subdivisions of each realm. And each of these dominions have a ruling Eshu. So we have one ruling Pombagira for all the dominions, and 8 ruling Eshus for each realm. One ruling of the realm and 9. We have one ruling Pombagira for each realm, and she rules these realms 9 dominions. So she has more authority, maybe, Then the realm, the king's realm, because the king's realm reigns on his realm, but he has his commanders. Each of these 7 each realm 9 subdivisions. So we have 10 male spirits ruling, each one of them ruling a part of a realm, while we have one single woman ruling all of them. And this is something I'll try to write another book about it and talk about this female power and this female empowerment that Kimbanda gives to Pombagira. But basically the structure is we have male energy called Eshu, female energy called Pombagira. We divide the whole nature and the whole universe in 7 realms. Each realm is subdivided in 9 dominions, and each dominion have an infinity of Eshu's name. So when we talk about Eshu, when we call Eshu Pombagira, we're talking about generic names to a kind of a family group. And then we will have, as we have in real life, we have John, we have Mary, we have Edward, we have Bianca, we have a lot of different names for male humans and female humans. That's the same thing in the spiritual. We have a lot of names for male spirits, Eshus, and female spirits, Pombagiras.
Thank you, Diego. Can you maybe give an example of how a Kimbanda practitioner would work with the different realm and then subdivision? So say like the wood realm, and then within the wood realm, like the meadows or the hills or the mines.
The dominions don't have a context difference from each other when we're talking about dominions of the same realm. So when I'm working with the woods realm, I will probably be looking for health issues or remedies, natural remedies, magical remedies. That's the most the basic dominion, the basic aspects that a woods realm, Eshu or Pombagira will deal with, medicine and healing and everything like this. So when inside the woods realm, which dominion will I choose to work with? Well, that depends on the spirits I'm going to invoke, the elements I have. So I'll look at the book to be more specific. If I'm going to perform some healing spell with flowers or with smelling elements, with perfumery or something like this, I will probably work with the flowers dominion and the Eshus who deals with him. So if I'm going to perform a spell with tree barks, the magical elements that I'm going to use are tree barks, are rough and raw things. I will probably look at the tree dominions or the meadows dominions. So inside the same realm, there is not much difference between each realm. Instead of the spirit I'm going to summon, it's something like if I have a job in a Acme company, and which employee which employee will I call to fulfill a task in the same department? Well, I can call the one who is available.
Right.
Something like this. And that's the biggest differentiation between the realms. So the crossroads realm is the realm that deals with the beginning of movement, with everything that is that sparks the changing of things, the changing of situations. So he's the first realm because he's the start of the movement. He's that one single moment that says, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
When things get in movement, then we have the cruise realm. We have the second realm. Things already started. There was that first spark, and now we have to continue the movement. We have to keep going. This is the cruise realm. When we talk about healing, when we talk about health issues, when we talk about cures and shamanic things and forests and all the secrets that natural elements have inside them, we're talking about the woods realm. When we're talking about, and then this is the third realm. When we're talking about the fears, the most emotional aspects of a person, when we're talking about psychological aspects of someone, we're talking about the cemetery realm. That, of course, when we perform a ritual, we're talking about real life cemeteries. But when we're talking about symbolic cemeteries, we're talking about those things that are deep inside our soul, deep inside, hidden in our feelings, deep inside, and that most of the time we don't want to look at. We don't want to look to a dead body. We don't want to look to a skull. We don't want to open a coffin and see what's there. As well as we don't want to look deep inside of us, and most of the times we don't want to face our inner beast. This is the cemetery realm, the most deep feelings and thoughts and energies that we can access. Of course, we're talking about a spirit's code. So we have the soul's realm, which is literally the realm that will deal with the deaths, that will deal with souls, that will deal with the spirits, the Eshu and Pombagira spirits as in general, because we're talking about that forces. And that's the fifth realm. Then we got the sixth realm, which is Lita's realm. And that's where we recognize all life's pleasure. If the Christian sin is to enjoy life, is to enjoy drinks, is to enjoy sex, is to enjoy, for those who know to use it and know to not be consumed by it, for those who enjoy drugs, for those who enjoy psychedelics, for those who enjoy everything that the world has to offer. This is the Lita's realm, as well as art, as well as dilettante's way of life. This is the Lita's realm. And then we have the seventh realm, which is the beach realm. Did I pronounce beach right?
Yeah.
Or am I pronouncing a bad word?
No, you're good. Okay. It's not
okay.
The bitch realm.
Bitches are going to be in the Lita's realm. and then we have the beach realm, which is the eternal. That is the English expression for it. The eternal return. So as the waves come and go on the beach shore, the beach realms shows us that just as victories, not every pain lasts forever, as well as not every pleasure lasts forever. So beach realm is going to deal with traveling from one place to another, for the comes and going of life, the energy flows, the energy cycles, and the situations that needs to be ended so things can restart again. And if the first realm is the crossroads realm, is the exact point of intersection of two streets where the movement starts, the beach realm is the symbolic way of saying that spark of movement will end sometime, and we need it, and we need to restart it. We need to go back to the beginning, and we need to learn what we've been through, so the journey can restart in a better way.
So the beach is like rebirth.
Yeah, exactly. The beach is like rebirth.
It's very interesting. And so there's over each one of these realms you described, there's but one Pombagira, but then there's 10 Eshu. Did I get that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
One Pombagira has the same amount of power that 10 Eshus will share with something like this.
Wow. And it seems like it's a really diversified field of action. I mean, you're covering all the different realms of life, of the external life and the internal life. I mean, when you mentioned about how the cemetery realm is also about that which is buried down deep inside of us, that really struck a chord with me. I thought, wow, that is really profound, because we bury things deep inside of ourselves.
Exactly.
And so I would imagine those Eshus and Pombagiras force you to face things.
In most of the times, yeah. And this is something that, I devoted myself to Kimbanda, and I love it. But you must be ready to face. One who wants to be a Kimbandist must be ready to face the way Kimbanda teaches things. Not Kimbanda, but the way that Eshu and Pombagira teaches you life lessons, because that's the thing. Eshus and Pombagira will mostly never, come here, let me tell you a story. I will try to teach you something. No, this is the real deal. This is how you're going to learn. And if you don't learn, I'll punch you. That's the way.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the most forgotten spirits, the most marginal spirits, and that's the way they know how to teach. That's the way they have to say, life isn't kind, life isn't sweet, but you can take the best of it, and it can be good.
So this is not necessarily an easy path.
No,
someone takes on.
Definitely, it's not.
But the rewards are worth it.
Are worth it. Yeah, exactly. You must have, at least you must be honest to yourself and admit that life isn't easy. Life isn't easy. No one grows, no one evolves with loving path. I'm a part of this, gratitude kind of people. I like being this way, but we have to face that no one evolves and no one grows in a peaceful and loving and sharing and community environment. We learn from pain. We only evolve from pain. When everything is good, I want to sit down and relax. Well, everything is good. I don't have anything to worry about, so I won't change. It's all good. I don't have why to change. I don't have why to look for something else. I don't have why to look to myself and maybe take a self-conscious, what's wrong? No, things are good. When something is wrong, when we're facing some struggle, when we're facing some life challenge, when we have to feel some pain, that's the sign that, well, things are not right. So what do I need to do in a practical way, or in a magical way, or in a spiritual way? What do I need to do to get to that relaxed and peaceful and good and pleasure state of being? So the main goal of Eshu and Pombagira in our life is to make us feel good, is to make us be health and be wealth and have love in life and have money and have everything we can. But they won't make things appear in your window and, I have money. Oh, no, you have to learn how to be worth of what they have to give to you. And that's the hard part.
Yeah, nicely said.
So let me ask you about spirit incorporation or spirit possession. Mm-hmm. Is this a part of the cult?
Yeah, that's the basics. The Kimbanda 101, you will be embodied by a spirit. And that's the way we relate with Eshu and Pombagira. Because we can hug our deities, we can talk with literally, we can hug our deities, we can talk with our deities, we can share a meal with Eshu and Pombagira, because they have the power of coming back from the dead and embody a person's body and take the conscious and take a person's body and become alive once again. That's the phenomenon of incorporation, of spiritual embodiment.
Because there is kind of an ambiguity with Eshu as far as spirit and deity, and there is the difference that you point out in the book between possession and spiritual embodiment. One is inside out, one is outside in. Do you experience both with Eshu?
No, with Eshu, I only experience the spiritual embodiment, the outside in. There is an outside element, an outside force, which is the spirit, that takes over my conscious, that takes over my body, and for that amount of time, I'm not the one who's there. I don't know what has been done. I don't know what has been spoken. I don't know what's been performed. The spirit take controls of my body and do whatever he wants. But it's an outside force that takes over me. And when we're talking about possession, when we're talking about Orisha's possession or Eloa's possession, we're talking about an inside force that is rooted in our body during the initiation rituals. It is a seed inside our body, and if we allow it to flower during the other rituals that Orisha's code or Loa's code demands, this seed that was rooted inside, literally rooted inside of us, it can flourish. And when it flourishes, it explodes from inside out and takes our body, also takes our conscious, also gets a earthly form in our taking over my body. But it's how can I explain this? Spiritual embodiment is when 1 + 1 becomes bigger than 2. We have my spirit, my incarnated spirit, my incarnated conscious, my incarnated body, that takes a step aside and says, well, you can take over me. It's another force, it's another personality, it's another being that acts through my physical body. I am not my Eshu. Actually, he is very different of me. I'm most, I don't know the word in English. I'm most shy some of the times. I'm most, and he is the king of the party. He laughs and talks and makes easy friendship and everything else. He is most open. I'm close. But once again, it's not myself. It's not me. When we're talking about the possession, the deity's possession, when we are initiated to an African god or goddess, when we are initiated to an Orisha, we are initiated to become an Orisha. And now we're talking about Candomble, now we're talking about gods and goddesses. It's another religion, another code, all different. But when I am possessed by Oxossi, which is the Orisha I'm initiated to, it is the divine particle of myself that explodes from inside out and gets in. It's it's the moment it's the moment I become a god in earth, because it's that seed that was rooted inside me. And that's why we are initiated to one Orisha. I can't have 2 gods growing inside me. We do, as my priest used to say, one head can only carry one crown. So the major difference maybe is this incorporation, spiritual embodiment. We're talking about a second element, an outside element, an outside force that takes over. When we're talking about God's possession, Orisha's possession, we're talking about my own divine particle that explodes and takes over. So I become a God for a while because I have a God planted, rooted inside of me. That's the biggest difference.
That makes sense. So you were initiated in Umbanda, so you have that seed planted.
In Candomble.
Okay.
Umbanda is the same thing as Kimbanda, spirits worshiping.
Okay.
Yeah, I am initiated. I am a priest of Candomble. I was initiated in Candomble to the Orisha's code.
Okay, so if someone is not, then they would only experience spiritual embodiment if they were not initiated in an Orisha's cult. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Anyone can be embodied by a spirit, initiated or not. Okay. Anyone can experiment this phenomenon. Any person can be embodied, but only initiated can be possessed.
Got it.
Because it's like the initiation with the Orisha or depending on the cult, whatever spirit that is, it's almost like a confirmation of what is already within you.
Exactly. That's why we have to consult the oracle, and only the Karishal divination will say which is the deity that is sleeping inside of you, waiting to be awakened.
So in that case, it's like self-actualization.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. So, I know I've seen, in America at least, there's a lot of interest in the issues in Pombagiras, but people don't have the proper context, or they have sincere interest, but they want to just jump right in and invoke them or call them. And to my understanding, that is not advisable. You have to be initiated to participate in working with these spirits. Is that right or is that wrong?
Yeah, right and wrong at the same time, because anyone can summon the spirits and they will probably answer. The thing is, if you're not initiated, or if you don't have, at least you don't have the knowledge enough, what will you do when they answer? And how will you guarantee that they will respect your authority or respect your wishes when you say, I want this, I want that? That's the secret of the thing. Mm. Spirits are among us right now. Are you prepared to relate with them? And if some of them says, no, I'm not going to hear you. Now I am going to make you obey me. If the spirit says, now I'm going to make you obey me, what spiritual preparement, what spiritual knowledge, what spiritual authority you have to deal with the spirits? So anyone can summon Eshus and Pombagiras in their houses? Yeah. Everyone is prepared for it? No. That's the reason of being of the initiation and all things we learned before. So we're talking about a religion of secrets, and these secrets are only revealed for those who are a part of it. One of the secrets is, how do you control these forces?
Can you maybe go deeper into the initiation process, the importance of initiation? I mean, we've touched on it, but there's a saying that you mentioned in the book that you can only give what you have received. That seems like a major point to emphasize.
This is the major rule. And it goes through the practical parts of the initiation and all the religious aspects of Kimbanda. So I can only initiate someone if I am initiated. I can only give a priest degree to someone if I have the priest title. So that's the most practical interpretation of this phrase. But we also have a symbolic interpretation of it, and that most people ignore. When we say one can only give what once received, we are talking about the results of a spell, for example. How can I make a prosperity spell for someone, asking the spirits to give this person a good job or a financial achievement or something like this, if I don't have, if I'm not financial, I don't need to be rich. I'm not talking about richness, but we're talking about a financial
stability.
Balance. Yeah, stability. Thank you. If I'm not financially stable, if I don't have at least I don't have a job, how can I give this to someone? How can I cast a spell to someone for something I don't have and I don't know what is it? I never taste the love. I never taste a good marriage. I never taste. How can I do a love spell to someone that will actually bring a nice relationship for that person? That's the most secret meaning of one can only give what he once received.
That's awesome. Thank you. Sorry, I think it cut you off earlier, Janice.
The other thing I wanted to mention was it also, again, it sounds like Eshu, because those who feed me are my friends.
Exactly.
Those who remember me, I remember them. So if you think about it, that's a universal principle of priesthood, the process of sacrifice and exchange.
Exactly. And that's what strengthens the bonds between the initiated and the spirit before the initiation. Because I have a lot of people that come to my house and says, "Oh, I want to be a part of Kimbanda. I had a dream, I had an intuition, I had something, anything, and I want to be Kimbandist." Okay, let's talk. You know that once you are initiated, you have to feed your spirit every year. You know, we are talking about a kind of a pact. Do you know you will have obligations from now on until the end of your life with the spirit you will be initiated to? Oh no, I just want to be a Kimbandist. Okay, I can perform the initiation. That's not a problem. But you will taste happiness and leave it aside. How do you strengthen these bonds? How we make someone become our best friend? You say hello for him once in a lifetime and never look back? And you can call that person your best friend? Or will you every day take a look at him, say hello, send an SMS or a WhatsApp message? Hey, how are you? Are you good? Can I help you with something? Are you feeling well? That's what creates our best friend bonds. That's what creates a family bond. Because family is not necessarily in the blood. How many relatives we have that we don't know anything of them? Are they our family? Or those who are in our day-to-day lives, facing with us, supporting us in our day-to-day struggles, cheering with us our day-to-day achievements? They're more family than some distant cousin, for example. And that's the meaning of the yearly rituals, of the yearly obligations, of the sacrifices, of all this kind. This is strengthen this bond.
Is there any danger to initiating that relationship and then abandoning it?
No. You won't be punished. You won't be punished unless you promise something. But that's other kind of relationship.
Yeah.
But the initiation itself is there. There won't be any punishment if you initiate yourself and says, "Oh, okay, that's not what I thought it would be. That's not for me." Okay, it's like you end a relationship, a friendship. Sorry, can I leave a friend behind? Yeah, you can. Will he chase you in real life? Probably not. So that's not a problem. But even there is no punishment for living it. The thing is, the road is a dangerous place. That's a reality. And it don't matter which kind of faith you have. It don't matter if you go to the church or if you go to a Kimbanda temple. The road is there, with all its dangers, with all its sadness, and of course with all its good things, with all its pleasures, with all its love, with all. And the thing is, with Eshu by our side, it gets easier to assess the good part of the road, or at least we are safer and we are protected against the bad parts. So will Eshu punish you if you leave him? No, he won't. Will he guard you if you leave him? No, he won't. And then you have to face the world.
Nice. Man, Diego, this has been so cool. You've given us a lot to think about, a lot of great knowledge. We're very lucky to have been able to talk to you. Such an authority in this subject. So this has been really cool. Where can people find what you're doing? Do you have a website where they can find updates or maybe contact you for readings? I assume you do.
We can do the oracle readings in English or in Portuguese. So people can find me at my website, www.Diego Oxossi.com.br. But if you want to know more about Kimbanda, if people want to first understand the basics and then take a decision to initiate themselves, read Traditional Brazilian Black Magic book by Destiny Books, written by me. So that's the Kimbanda's 101. You will find some text, some articles in my website, but the basics are in the book. So get to know the book, get to know what is Kimbanda, get to know what kind of relationship you can establish with these spirits by reading Traditional Brazilian Black Magic. And of course, if you want to initiate if you want to be initiated in Kimbanda, if you want to please the spirits with offerings or something like this, if you want to cast a spell for this or that goals, or if you just want to know more about yourself and what the gods and the goddesses and the spirits have to your fate, to your destiny, you can always send me a WhatsApp message or send me an email through my website, diegodeoxossi.com.br.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on. Janice, did you have anything else to add?
I just wanted to express my gratitude to Diego for a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for making your time so available. Thank you so much for taking the painstaking effort to explain these things.
No, I love to do this.
There's not a lot of information in the English-speaking world on Kimbanda, especially reliable information. And there's a lot of people who really want to know about it and really want to understand it. And I hope that this interview helps them with that. And I also just want to personally thank all of the Eshus and Pombagiras of your house, as well as all of the other spirits of your of your house that are with you, that I'm sure are listening to this interview. Love, honor, respect to every single one of them.
Thank you, Dominic, for these most amazing moments with you. It's a pleasure for me to talk about Kimbanda, about Eshu, and we are trying to organize some initiation. How to say this? Some initiation rounds for foreign people. So if any of the listeners or maybe you guys are interested, we can try to organize this in a practical way of doing things for foreign people. And it was a pleasure to be with you. And I know and I wish and I ask Eshu to always guide and enlighten your path and give you all the best life can have.
Thank you so much.
A big thank you to Diego. Excellent, excellent guest, representing a topic that isn't that well known in the English-speaking sphere. There have been some people over the past, I'd say 10 years, that have made this subject a little bit more accessible, but it's still been a minimal amount. I remember a book by Technicians of the Sacred in the 90s that came out, and I think there's been a smattering of other things that speak of these spirits, either ethnographic or anthropological studies, which go into some of the religious elements. But I don't really, well, and then there's a few occult books that are probably better off not being mentioned because of their lack of comprehension. So I won't even touch those. But Diego presents the information in a clear, direct, easy to access way. He also places it firmly within the context of the diasporic traditions. And within that, and he plots or triangulates its origin among those, constellates them and represents how it originates from the same roots. I think this is really important because people, I think especially today, tend to compartmentalize and see things in bite-sized pieces, TikTok-sized pieces, instead of gaining a picture of the whole, and the way that different systems, movements, traditions are related to each other. He also, I think, was an excellent explicator of the way a dynamic and lived tradition actually evolves and grows in current time, in real time.
Yeah, I found it extremely fascinating. Just, the book itself is really great. Brazilian Black Magic. Highly recommend it. I liked it way more than I thought I would. And just the whole history of Kimbanda, how it was conceived, is just super fascinating. I mean, we talked about it in the episode, but the elevation of the Eshu spirits, kind of coming to the table of the deities as a reflection of kind of the socio-economic situation in Brazil at the time and the changing dynamics in the social structures, directly correlated with this spirituality that was kind of evolving from Kardecism to Umbanda and then to Kimbanda. Just really fascinating. And Kimbanda itself, very comprehensive system and very deep.
Definitely. And I think that, again, I also appreciate that he drew attention to the Congo roots, because we see the Congo arising repeatedly in the origins of many of these diasporic traditions. We spoke to Owen Ballard. We've spoken to Rocky Geis. We've spoken to several people at this point who have kind of illuminated a different branch of this sort of esoteric and spiritual current. And in each time they come on, I've always noticed, and I think it's important to take note of, this Congo influence. And he definitely gets into that, and the way that, the social system, the case system really, was then projected onto the way the spirits were approached and organized and treated. And I think that that's something worth contemplating, is the way that the spiritual world is a mirror of the physical world in a certain sense. And there can be sort of revolutionary approaches to dealing with the spiritual world. One thing that I thought was important that he mentioned, which is a distinction that is not unique to Kimbanda or Umbanda, is the idea that the god, or the Orisha or Law, whatever, it's not really being installed in the person, like, their head isn't being opened up and something isn't being plopped in the brain dish. It's more that it is the realization of something that was already present within. It's the actuation and the animation of a pre-existent principle within the soul. And that's that difference between the coming down or coming in from outside of actual possession via that process is intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely. So great stuff. And we're going to try to keep this a little bit on the shorter side. So let's move right into the book review. What do you got for us today?
No, you got it, remember?
What do I got for us today? For the book review, I have a new book I just acquired. It's called Greek Poems to the Gods, Hymns from Homer to Proclus by Barry Powell. And it's through University of California Press. It's actually a really great little book. It's got the Homeric hymns. It's got the Orphic hymns. It's got the hymns written by Proclus to the different gods. And it's also got hymns from Callimachus, who was an influential thinker, I don't know offhand, maybe around 200 BC, around the area of Alexandria. It's a compilation of all those in one spot. It's a very high quality book. The pages are kind of that glossy paper that's on the high quality side with color photos. It's about 250 pages. So you've got, for anyone familiar with these hymns, you've got Poseidon, Athena, Aphrodite, Apollo, Artemis, Dionysus, Ares, all the normal gods to be found in the Orphic hymns and the Homeric hymns, but all in one spot. And it's compact. You can put it in your purse, in your bag, take it camping, take it to a coffee shop. It's a nice little book. So highly recommended. And that is the book for this week, Greek Poems to the Gods, Hymns from Homer to Proclus by Barry Powell.
And Diego can be found on his website, which should be posted underneath this on the YouTube page or also on our Facebook page. You can also find him on Instagram. He's on Instagram and Facebook, I believe. So there's multiple ways to get in touch with him. I know he offers a variety of spiritual services. He also does evaluations for initiation. But yeah, we can be found in all the usual places. And as always, gratitude to our supporters. We thank you for this. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening, all of you, all around the world. And glad that we could hopefully introduce some new ideas to some people here and some new perspectives that they might not have considered before.
Okay, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you next time.